I've been playing a lot of tactical shooters lately, and not for the reason I feel most people play them, right? Like realistic, you know, weapon customization, military-esque, you know, commanding a small squad, even though I'm not crazy about that. I'm playing these games, but not for the reason people think I'm playing these games. I feel like these games are niche games. Is it niche? Niche. They're not the most popular games. Now, some people may argue against that because look at games like Call of Duty and Rainbow Six. They are like military type games, but they're not, they're arcadey. They're supposed to be fun and, jump in, do some quick sessions. Some of them are even considered esports, which esports itself, that word I have a problem with. We've discussed, we've been through that. I play military shooters for the realism, for the challenge. I don't, to be perfectly honest with you, with games like Ground Branch that I'm about to speak about in a second, but also games like Arma and what else I got here that even like Project Reality, right, which is a Battlefield 2 mod, that makes the game more realistic and you know I'm a sucker for that. The mechanics that are realistic, bullet drops and the ballistics are taken into account, the type of armor the enemy has, strategic planning, so and so. It depends. I'm more of like a shoot shit, get behind cover, shoot shit, get behind cover, finally beat the mission. That's the way I like to play games. I'm approaching these hardcore military games like a casual player. I don't know the name of the guns. I can literally, like, I fire up Arma all the time. I've been playing Arma for over 50 something hours. Arma 3. I've been playing Armor Reforger for longer than that, which I'm enjoying, by the way. Uh, a lot of reasons I enjoy Armor Reforgers basically because it's much more simpler than Armor 3. Now, that's probably the reason most people don't like Reforger, right? Because it's not as deep and complex as Armor 3. And I find myself liking Armor Reforger because it isn't complicated and it kind of caters to a casual like me. But we'll give Armor Reforger some time. This is not the they're not stopping here. Bohemia Interactive. They're obviously gonna add to Reforger, and it's gonna look completely different 5 years from now. Hopefully, it'll be a good different. So I find myself playing these games right because of the realism. I crave realism. Right. I love getting hit once or twice and dying. Okay. Maybe love is a really strong word here. It's annoying, yeah. Sometimes you don't know where the fuck you're getting shot at, especially when I first played Reforger. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like paranoid because like I don't know anything about enemy positions. I wasn't spotting enemies well. Now I'm much better at playing a game now after a few weeks. But I guess that's what happens, right? These are those type of games that you have to put in some time to get good. You're not going to get good right off the bat. And that leads me to Ground Branch, right? This is a military shooter that I've been playing lately, and too long didn't read. A solid 7. Give me a second. Solid 7. Um, it's above average. It's definitely a good game, but of course, it's not without its criticisms, right? Now I'm more lenient than most, right? Like I feel, and I have a lot of evidence to prove this, but I feel like the average gamer today is extremely finicky and very judgmental. Like I feel like I read way more reviews where video game purchasers, I don't know what you call it, but players, let's call them players. Players are just really harsh and disrespectful. And I feel like it's not just players. I feel like that's just people online. I in my mind, I don't understand how someone can be a complete asshole through like a chat room, or I don't even think they have those anymore. That's how old I am. A forum, a thread, whatever the fuck you guys call it, Twitter. I don't know how someone can be a complete asshole and then be like a great family man. I have people like that in my life, like not in my life, but like for example, work. There's a specific someone at work she's a bitch. There's no other way to put it. Like she doesn't mind. She throws people under the bus. She's always snitching on someone. She's always like she almost got in a fist fight with someone. She had to actually get separated from the supervisor himself. But she's an excellent family woman. She's involved in all her kids' events, her niece's events, and she's always sending money back to her home country. And I just start to think to myself, like, how can you be two people at once? How can you be such a cunt at work, but a God fearing? She sings at her church choir. I'm not. That's not a. I'm not lying. That's not an embellishment at all. Like, on top of that, like I said, she's giving people money and caring for her family, deeply involved in that life. And I'm just like, how can you be two people? That I don't understand the mechanic. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm like, I'm one person all the time. I try my best to be respectful. I don't always reach that goal, but I would say 80% of the time I do. I'm a fucking human. Cut me some slack here. But my point is, I don't know how you can be two people. That doesn't register well in my mind. And I feel like players today are like that. They're very judgmental, very harsh. A lot of them are pretend outrage harsh, meaning that like they see an obvious flaw in a video game or a movie or whoever's commenting, and they feel like they have to point it out in a disrespectful way to get some likes, to get, by likes I mean like they're starving for a funny comment so everyone can like it, because it's addicting to have hundreds of people like your comment, right? I mean I've only experienced this one time in my life in social media where I posted up a post, and it was about that stupid dress. That was like, is this dress blue or gold, or I don't remember. Maybe you guys may remember, but I was one of the early ones to repost that because I was like, what the fuck is the hype of this? Or something like that. I was like, I don't understand. It's obviously a whatever color I said. I think it was white or gold. I don't remember. This was years ago. And I was like, it's just it's the angle. Why is this such a controversy? See, I was naive. I was realizing that like a lot of these, they're now like clickbait, right? They're bait posts. Like the people who are posting this clearly know the answer, but they know that there's also a possibility of another answer, and that's going to generate controversy, and then controversy generates eyeballs on your shit, clicks. So they know they're intentionally being controversial because they know people are going to engage. They know it. It's a hot topic, or it's just a topic that you know can go both ways. So it's smart marketing in a way, or smart business strategies if you want to be annoying. But point is, I got thousands of likes on, like, thousands. And you know what I did? I fucking deleted it, dude. I deleted it because I kept getting notifications over and over. I don't know how a celebrity does it. Now I know you can turn them off, and eventually that's what I have now. Like this was on my Instagram. I ended up turning it off. My notifications are turned off now. See I can only get someone's message or comment if I log on Instagram. Other than that, it won't notify my phone. But back then, I wasn't privy to all that, or savvy. Which one is the word? Privy, savvy. So I had thousands and thousands of likes, and I was just like, "Holy shit, this is wild, right?" To be honest with you, I didn't enjoy it as much. I thought it was cool at first, but then it quickly became like, okay, this is too much, and I deleted the post, man. And God knows how long that, God knows how where that would have led. It would have led to all these weird eyeballs on my page, and now I have to act a certain way or find content that matches that dress so I can continue the influx of subscribers and maintain whatever fan base I have. I don't know. It's weird. I can see how it gives people pressure, puts pressure on people, and makes them act weird. So, gamers, finicky, say a lot of disrespectful shit. Sorry I trailed off there. We were talking about Ground Branch. It's very easy for people. I see it all the time. Just recently, I read a comment on Ground Branch's page, and it was just a dude just being sassy. I'm gonna say disrespectful, but he was sassy for no reason. Give me a second. I read two comments like that actually, where it's just, and I was just thinking like, why you don't talk to people like that in real life? So it's like, why would you, especially a game that you play? It's a game that you play and enjoy. So why are you being disrespectful? I feel like it's rewarded now. It's normalized. I don't know why. Must be a lot of bitch ass dudes and women in our society, because that's some bitch shit. There's no other way to put it. If you're online all the time yelling and being extremely disrespectful to the people that you support, you're a bitch. There's no other. You need to cut that shit out. You need to stop that. Be a good person, man. Now, if someone's being disrespectful to you, sure. I mean, I guess you can defend yourself. But in reality, do you want to? Do you want to go back and forth with someone online? That's not good for you. You know that's not good for you. So, you know what I mean? Might be a fucking kid, might be a scammer, might be someone intentionally baiting you. You don't know. You're not there. You can't read body language. Ground Branch. We're talking about video games in case you didn't know. But you keep trailing off. You need to chill. Stay on subject. Jesus, what's wrong with you? 7. That's what I give it. Only because this is one of those games where it's been in early access for about 6 years, right? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This year would be 6 years in early access. Now, I understand that the excuse of it takes a long time to make a good video game, that can only go so far, right? I believe that with Ground Branch. I do. I get honest vibes from the developer. I don't know if that developer is an actual like fucking murderer or a scam artist. I don't know this man or people, obviously, because it's a small indie group. Blackfoot, I believe that's the name of the studios. I probably should have researched this. That's probably the theme to all my videos. I probably should have researched this. That's how fucking casual I am with life. I need to chill. So I it's a small developer studio from the original. He was one of the original developers of Rainbow Six or something like that. So he has experience in games, or they have experience in games. And I find myself thinking like when I play the game, all in all, it's a great game, very realistic, lots of a shitload of weapon customization. I don't think there's probably another game out there that has more weapon customization than Ground Branch. You can move, you know, not only can you install like peripherals, can you call them that? But scopes and sights on your gun on mounted on the rail, but you can actually move it, back and forth to adjust the height, or you can be as finicky as you want with your guns and basically fine tune them to an almost perfect degree. And I think that's cool. I know if you're a tinker, I'm really not. Like I said, I don't remember guns. Like I was saying earlier, I'm playing Arma 3 and I've been playing it for quite a while now. Over 50 hours, which is like baby hours to those real Arma players. But I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Give me some time. And I can't tell you for the life of me what gun I use. I just know it's an automatic rifle. That's how fucking casual my brain is. I don't even like take the time to learn the goddamn name of the gun. But I'm trying because, like I said, I'm not really into the military shit. The whole lingo, Roger, Wilco, 10 clicks to the south. And I'm not making fun of it. Relax. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying that it's a little too much, for a casual guy like me. Now, if I was in the military or if I was just a military aficionado, then I would love that shit, right? Because and the thing is, it's not that I don't understand it, because I do. I understand most of it, believe it or not. I don't know how, but I do. But I just it doesn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? Like that's why I liked games like DayZ, right? DayZ was a straight copy from Arma, right? Because it kind of removed the military stuff. Do I hate the military stuff? No. Lots of times it's cool. I saw this video of these two guys. One was in the army, and the other guy was like in what is it, the Royal Navy? The Britain's version of the army. I don't know what they're called. But they were playing Insurgency Sandstorm, and both of these guys were like fucking surgical. It didn't even feel like a video game. One guy, I'm hooking to the left, I'm staying low, you stay high, you know, tango to the left, shit like that. And I was like, that's cool. That it was too much, sure, because it's a game and it's, you know, maybe it's overkill with the communication, but it was fucking cool. And these guys were like genuine professionals, man. Like one was to the left, one was to the right. They were covering each other's backs. They were just, 2, 3 shots each person, no shots wasted. I was like, damn, if this is like what the military is like, I can see how, you know, a lot of operations will go, well, I wouldn't say flawlessly because, obviously we're humans, but I can see how a shitload of communication, almost too much communication, can lead to so much victory. Hence why there's so many games out there that are doing fantastic, that are warlike games that also require a shitload of communication. Games like Squad, games like Hell Let Loose, you know, games where you have to talk. You know, I'm unfortunately I come from a single player background because I'm an old gamer, so I'm not crazy about like the vast majority of the games I've ever played in my life were single player. So this whole new I have to rely on teammate shit, I'm not crazy about that. My success relies on whether a team member cooperates or not. I'm not wild about that. I don't like that. Ground Branch, don't get me wrong, it's not like that. You can play lone wolf or single player mode, which is pretty cool. It's challenging as hell. I still have yet to clear it out. I put 15 terrorists on a map, or bots, if like the young kids say. And I'm playing single player, and I probably could get down to like maybe five, four, and then I just get killed. But it's fun. It's very realistic. It's just one of those games where the biggest problem would be it feels like has a lack of content. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't have content. There's definitely enough content in the game to keep you satisfied. There's enough. That's the key word here. Enough. Is there a lot of content? No. Is there a little content? No. It's just enough. It's early access, so you got to remember that's not going to be fully fleshed out just yet. But there's enough to keep you entertained. You can do multiplayer. I believe you can add mods now. They just had a major update recently. They're still fine tweaking the AI. They've been having some issues with that. Just today, there was a patch to fix that. It's a game that's like you want to have in your library for the future. I want to believe, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. I don't know if this project could get canceled tomorrow. You never know, but I want to believe in my heart that this is gonna be a fucking problem of a game, and by problem I mean that in the best way possible, in a compliment way. Like it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like other games have to watch out. That's what I meant by problem. So it still feels like an early access title though. Like lots I mean, not lots of maps, but enough maps. Game modes are limited at least to single player because it appears like this is a cooperative game. Like you have to have a small team and you guys have to do, the whole communication thing. And when I play Armor Reforger, thank God most people, like 90% of the people that I play with aren't super military. Like we're all casual. We'll be like enemies to the left. We don't even really use the compass or anything like that. I like that because I like to play my game. I like to have fun. I feel like once you start getting super serious with like military lingo, it kind of removes from the game. Then again, everyone's different. For some people, it actually adds to the game. Some people play the game to use military lingo and all that, and that's fucking cool too, man. I guess there's really nothing bad that I can say about Grand Branch except the AI. I will say, I know once again they're fine tweaking the AI, and just today there was a patch. AI, get, I know for a fact. I'm not even a video game developer, but I know for a fact that it takes an immense amount of work to at least make AI believable. So I can see why PvP games are like they vastly outnumber PvE games. Although it's good to see Helldivers still in the top charts, and that's a strictly PvE game. I like that. I wish there were more games that were strictly PvE. I feel like everything is a shooter now. If you're a PvP player, you are fucking spoiled for choice. You've got awesome free to play games. You've got games that you can pay for. Like you will never run out of content if you are a PvP player. Now, if you're a PvE player, it gets a little trickier, right? You have to kind of look around in different genres. Like there are FPS single player games that you can play, Borderlands, Cyberpunk, you know, you name it. A lot of Far Cry, if that's your thing, Ghost Recon, Wildlands, and all that. Like there's a bunch of games that you can play single player and all, but against AI. But I don't know, just PvP outnumbers everything right now, and I don't know how I feel about that because I'm more of a PvE guy. I like a bunch of my human squad mates to go and take out an AI threat. I like that. That's a lot like Helldivers, basically. And you can see a lots of people like it too because Helldivers is still reigning supreme. Helldivers has exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be one of those. I said this before. I thought it was going to be one of those trendy games where like it's just going to hang around the charts for like a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, and then after that, the hype dies, everyone stops playing it, and then they move on to the next best thing. But Helldivers has been consistently hanging on for like what 2 months now, 3 months now, something along those lines. It's impressive, and I haven't played it yet, man, but I'm happy to see this because this is not only because the game looks fucking awesome, but also because it's a big win for PvEers like me. I hope that more companies see this and go, oh shit, people do want to play against AI, right? We just got to make good AI. Like, spend time to make good AI. Now, that's easier said than done, right? For someone like me who's not into development, right? Like, you can just snap your fingers and you have good AI. I bet it takes a shitload of programming, obviously, coding, developing in general. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I have all the answers, but and I know it's fucking difficult. From what I hear, it's hard as shit to make like scripted NPCs and scripted AI to react to like certain to make them feel more humans and react to all the players' decisions and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true. That's something I read online, and if it's online, it must be true, I guess. So it's a session-based shooter, meaning that there is no large open world. I don't know if the developer. I've been looking up so many games lately, so I don't know if the developers of Ground Branch, I believe Blackfoot Studios, or man, I hope I'm not fucking naming some other studio. I believe they said that they have said that eventually they're going to link all of the maps together and make some sort of an open world. I don't know if it's Ground Branch or a different game that said this. I've been looking at so many fucking games lately. I'm not joking. I can't even tell. Easy Red 2, which is that's a fun game that the developer's a fucking demon. I don't know how he comes up with so much content. It just not without its criticisms. But that's a whole. Maybe I'll talk about that another day. Where was I going with this? So it's a session-based shooter, and for 6 years under development, it still feels a little underbaked, right? Like, I don't know what it is about it. I feel like, not unless that's what. Sorry, I paused the recording unexpectedly. I don't know if that's what they were going for. Just have like a session based shooter where you can just jump in, play for half an hour or so, and then jump out, or maybe less than that, 20 minutes if you're good. Maybe that's the aim that they were going for. But considering that they're coming, this is a developer that's coming from games like Rainbow Six and all that. I believe it was Rainbow Six. I think they might even work for Ubisoft too. I'm not sure, but point is, this game would be awesome in an open world, right, with actual like objectives and stuff like that. Um, but it's a session-based shooter, and once again, there's nothing wrong with that. For some people, that's the game that they want, right? They have their life, they have life, they got shit going on in life. They can't sit there and play open world games for hours and hours and hours. I'm not saying Ground Branch should be an open game where it's like Far Cry, you run around and do crazy objectives and you got a fucking four wheeler and fucking, you know. Although that would be cool. You can do it like Arma, still keep it realistic. You don't have to get all super arcadey or nothing. Not that there's nothing wrong with super arcadey, because Far Cry 6, I enjoyed it. I thought the game was pretty fun. It wasn't the best Far Cry in my opinion. I think the best Far Cry I played was 5, the one with Joseph Seed. I think that's 5. That may be 4. I think that's 5. Some people say the Far Cries before that were better. I haven't played those. I just played 4, 5, and 6, and 5 I think was the best one. So where am I going with this? Yeah, I'm not saying that Ground Branch should turn into a generic open world shooter, right? But I am saying that I would assume that that's what it would be, considering that developers have backgrounds in making games that are like open worlds or whatever. But it's cool to see at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, right, which is hard because I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say most of the time, but what I'm saying is it's awesome to have games that are focusing more on realism and challenge, because I feel like for a long time now I've become disillusioned with games that you are essentially a god, right? And I'll name Cyberpunk, which is a fucking awesome game. I give Cyberpunk a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed that game. That was one of the. I don't remember the last game where I stood up. Besides Arma yesterday, I was up to like 5 in the morning. Arma 3, playing that. But with Cyberpunk, it was so captivating that I was up to like 5, 6 in the morning playing, and I could have continued easily. But I'm like, shit, I got work, man. I gotta chill. So But games like that, you are essentially a god, right? It's like the superhero formula, right? Like, oh, if the superhero, he's getting beat by the villain, and at one point people think he's dead, but the superhero always wins in the end. That's what the formula is for games like Cyberpunk, games like Far Cry, games like Assassin's Creed, games like Horizon Zero Dawn, games like The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Skyrim, Starfield. You start off as this lowly grunt, and eventually you become so powerful that like no one can stop you. You essentially become a god. It's a formula that's been redone over and over and over and over again, and it's fun as hell and it works. That's why everyone does it, right? It's like guaranteed success, right? That shit gets boring. I find myself gradually, even before I got into this whole realistic, I guess, phase or trend. I don't think it's a phase or trend. I think I'm gonna be always be looking for these type of games. I'm always gonna be looking for a challenge. But I feel like even though these games are fun, that formula is played out. That's a big reason I don't watch superhero movies because the formula is always the fucking same. And now they got this multiverse bullshit where it's like if Batman can die in one multiverse, he's alive in the other. And it's like it doesn't have any real weight to a character dying because you know he can always come back. That's bullshit. It's a cop out. Like, stop that. Like, if you're going to kill off someone, stick to your guns. He's fucking dead. All right? He's dead. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Oh, he's alive in the multiverse of Arkham Batman. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear any of that. He's dead or he's alive. You pick one. Just don't cop out like that. That's just my opinion on things. It's cool to know that you are vulnerable in games like Ground Branch and games like Arma, and other shooters. It's good to know that you can get hit once or twice and die, and it's difficult, and but I can totally see how someone would not. It's not a game that you can just pick up and play. It's not a game for a casual player if you're coming from like Call of Duty or any other type of FPS where it's arcadey and the ballistics aren't realistic or whatever. Once again, nothing wrong with that. Those games are fun as hell. I have no problem with those games. I'm just saying that like it's cool to know that there's options out there where it's like, no, I can die as quick as the enemy can die. I like that because it's challenging, it's realistic, and it gives me incentive to play. Ground Branch is a lot like Arma in many ways, right? It's not open world or anything, but they're both realistic, tactical, a lot of military lingo. Um, Difficult to master, right? But you can sink in hundreds and hundreds of hours and still learn something new. That's awesome, right? Imagine like I bought this game. I bought Arma 3 for like $8. Now imagine the thousands of hours this game can give me. I can't say Ground Branch can give you thousands of hours, so they can give you a few hundred if if you're really like if you're playing a lot of multiplayer. I would imagine that the single player content would get stale really quickly after a while. Not because it's bad, just because there's not a lot of choices. But I've been dancing around the subject for a while now, and it's the fact that Ground Branch has been in early access for 6 years, and it's hitting that point, right? 6 years hits that line between like I don't think you should no longer use. It takes a long time to make video games, and then on the other side, it's like video games do take a long time. Sometimes it could take like 10 years, and it's like especially when there's other titles that have come out of early access much quicker than 6 years, it's kind of hard to justify the 6 year thing and go like, oh yeah, well, we might need another 6 years in order for this game to be perfected. I know I'm sounding like a douche right now, and I don't mean to, but there is a line, right? Like there's only so long you can wait before you go, okay, I don't think I'm gonna see the finished product for this game for another few years. I'm just gonna, move on. And I feel like that's what happens a lot with Ground Branch when you go into multiplayer, for example, and not try to check out some of the like the whoever's playing. There's not a lot of people playing, man. There's probably no bullshit. I think one time I counted maybe under 20 people. And all of these servers that they have, there's so many server listings, and I think like 20 or under 20 after so many servers that I counted. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm just saying that like I feel like a lot of people think like I do. My little stupid casual brain is thinking like, okay, this game has been in early access for a while. I can't sit around and wait for another 4 5 years until it's fully fleshed out. I'm just gonna move on. Come back whenever there's an update just to check it out for a couple hours and then move on. as opposed to like a full finished product where you most likely will enjoy it for a lot longer. But once again, I don't know shit about video games, and especially games like this where it has all these intricacies, and it's a lot more realistic than an arcade shooter where you can get shot 7, 9, 10, 12, 15 times and still be alive. Fun, but also not realistic. So I'm assuming these type of games, these little niche games, they have more complexities than the average game. So like I'm trying to be understanding. What I'm trying to say is that like that 6 year mark, you're teetering. The 4 year mark, sure, sure, I can be like 5 year mark, maybe, but definitely 4, 3, 2. Like if the game's been in early access for that long, I'll go okay, yeah, yeah. I could wait a little longer. I know they're fleshing things out, but the 6 year mark, I kind of feel like you kind of went over like that line of like, damn, is this gonna get done within the decade? Like, and I'm not saying that as a knock. Like I said, this I'm just criticizing. That's all. I still like the game either way you put it out, and it's installed on my PC, and that says a lot because I'm a stickler for space, right? Like I like to manage my. I don't like to have anything on my computer that I don't need. I'm not gonna keep something on there and go like just in case I use it. If I do that, it doesn't stay on my computer for long. So right now, I narrowed it down to just a few games right now, and Ground Branch is one of them because I want to keep my eye on it for a while. And I do enjoy jumping in and just playing a quick session and then jumping out. It is fun. It's hard as shit, but it's fun. Same thing with Arma. I suck at it, just like I suck at Ground Branch. But it's fun. I want to learn. I want to eventually become good enough to finish a mission, for example. That'd be nice. Good stuff. All in all, I know. Sorry if I was all over the place. That's just the way I am. I mean, that's you can. If you've been listening to these videos, you already know I'm a fucking rambler. But it's a game that I definitely, if you see it on sale, for sure pick it up because I do feel that even though it's been in early access for quite a while now, I do feel like it is going to become an awesome game. It's already a good game. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's going to be so much better if it continues in this trajectory. So it's definitely a great investment to jump in now, especially when it's on sale. I went to the developer's website and bought it so they can get the full, money instead of Steam. I think Steam gets like 30% or something like that. That's what I learned that from them actually. They said if you go to their website and buy it or whatever, they'll give you the sale price, which was I think I bought this game for like $21 or something like that, which is a steal to be honest with you, considering that this game is definitely worth more than that. Even at its state now, I believe at least $30 would be like understandable. Like yeah, yeah, you can get hours of entertainment from this. You can get more. I follow for the dollar per hour rule. I don't know if I explained this before. I probably have because I talk a lot. If you buy a game, a dollar per hour rule, my dollar per hour rule is like when you buy a game, whatever you spent on it, you'll get your money back if you played it for how much money you've spent on it. So if you bought a game for $20 and you played it for 20 hours, you got your money's worth. You bought a game for $5 and you played it for 5 hours, you've got your money's worth. You buy a game for $60 and you played it for 60 hours, you got your money's worth. So even if this game was like $30, which I think it is actually, I think that's the standard price. You can most definitely pass 30 hours in this if you are but you got to make sure you know what you want before you buy it. Have your expectations realistic, right? Like this is a tactical shooter. This is a hard game. I am gonna die. If you're someone who gets frustrated quickly and haven't played any type of other military shooters like Arma or, you know, anything else, you got to understand that it is a hell of a learning curve, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of finicking, but you can't give up. I think it's still worth it now, and even more when it's on sale. Like I got it for like $20. I think that was a hell of a steal there. Good stuff. There's nothing really bad. The AI can be a little wonky, like I said earlier. Um, but I feel like that's the case with most AI, right? Like you're always gonna find weird things that they do, and you're just like, it kind of breaks the immersion a bit. But that's video games, man. That's not a thing that's exclusive to Ground Branch. That's just video games in general. No major bugs that I've encountered personally. Game runs smooth. Optimization is pretty good. You know, it's a fun game, man. Like there's no giant complaints besides funny AI and like a lack of serious content for 6 years. Don't get me wrong, there is content. There's enough content in this game. It's definitely not lacking content, but it doesn't have 6 years worth of content. It just doesn't feel like it does. It still feels kind of unfinished. So those are my two major complaints, and those are pretty good, all things considered, because there's other games that I've played recently that just they're trying, but there's something about it that just doesn't connect. One title I named earlier, admirable, but still needs some time. Yep. So if you do see it on sale, definitely pick it up. This is a game that you can watch out for in the future, man. I know I am. I'm gonna keep it around, and let's see. Let's see what the future brings. See you guys later.